Here.
Alderman Morris,
Here.
Alderman Notes,
Here.
Alderman Rummel,
Here.
Alderman Preschlack,
Here.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Here.
Alderman Moreno,
Here.
Alderman Bushman.
Here.
There is a quorum of the Lake Forest City Council. Do I have a motion for, to appoint a mayor pro tem?
I so move that Jed Morris be mayor or chairman pro tem.
Seconded.
Joe, if I could have the slide of the American flag, if everybody can mute their microphone, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hey, can we do a vote first on the pro tem?
You want a roll call vote on that?
Everything should be roll call. Yep.
Certainly. Alderman Beidler? Aye. Alderman Morris?
Aye.
Alderman Notes?
Aye.
Alderman Rummel?
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack?
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian?
Aye.
Alderman Moreno?
Aye.
Alderman Bushman?
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Okay. I think we'll proceed with the agenda, which has been sent out.
Pledge of Allegiance.
We could do the
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like to mute your microphones, I'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. I will, as a pro tem, I will call the meeting to order. This is the Monday, May 4th, 2020 agenda, Lake Forest City Council meeting. It's being done on a remote access basis due to the pandemic. We've had the roll call and the Pledge of Allegiance. So we will, I think, be able to ask for, since the mayor's not here, comments by the city manager, which is our second item on the agenda. And then we'll move to the comments by the mayor if he joins us with the recycling campaign. So City Manager Wisha, if you'd like to proceed.
Very well, I will, thank you, Alderman Morris. I will actually be reserving my comments for a little later in the meeting. So I have no additional report at this time.
Very good. The third item on our agenda is for opportunity for citizens to address the city council. And it's my understanding that that can happen by calling our number 847-810-3643. And the concierge for the call will introduce you and your question. Are there any questions?
There are no calls at this time.
No calls at this time. Very good. With that, I think we can move on to our committee reports, which happens to be a finance committee, which Director Holub and I are going to do. And it regards the approval of the FY 2021 annual budget summary, the FY 2021 pay plan. As the city council knows, Director Holub sent out an email early in the week talking about a slight change to our process. Normally, we would be passing the final budget tonight as the first meeting in May. But with all of the discussions and changes related to the pandemic and the potential impact on our budget, we've decided to break this into two parts. Tonight will be a summer review of the meeting that we had in the summer meetings of the past two meetings where we've talked about the prospective revenue and expense budgets. And then next meeting, when the new aldermen are seated, we will do the final passage on the May 18th agenda for the final budget. And I'd just like to point out in the email that Director Holub sent out, she did make a couple reference points to the Parks and Recreation and the Deer Path Golf Course funds. And in those, because of the unknown related to the pandemic, the expense budgets are included in those two funds, but the revenue budgets are not. And we will, if there is changes in the revenue going forward, we'll add those to the budget. But if there's a deficit in the year, we'll cover that out of the 2020 surplus. So we will be monitoring that very carefully. And as you know, Alderman Romo recommended to have a monthly review of our budgets in the coming months as we get through the summer. We'll see how the pandemic and the state's financial situation is impacting us. But with that, I'd like to turn it over to Director Holub, who has a slide presentation to review kind of where we are and what the next steps are. So Director Holub, would you like to proceed?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Morris. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the slides. There we go. Thank you for those introductory comments, Chairman Morris. The first slide just summarizes our FY21 budget process. We started last year, late in the summer, with staff updating the capital improvement program. In October, the City Council Finance Committee confirms and approves the fiscal policy for the applicable budget year. In November, the City Council Finance Committee met to review revenues and the capital improvement program. In December, the City Council approved the tax levy and fee schedule related to fiscal year 21. And then in January and February, staff work on developing the operating budget submittals, and the city manager meets with each of the departments to go through those budget requests. In March 12th this year, the City Council Finance Committee met to review the operating budget. And then we were just a few days away from having offices closed and needing to go back to work on the operating budget for fiscal year 21. We delayed approval of the FY21 budget to allow the City Council Finance Committee to hear a presentation on April 20th related to the early forecasts and projections on how COVID-19 might impact the city's upcoming budget. And the City Council Finance Committee had an opportunity to talk about specific revisions to be made for the FY21 budget. And then, as Chairman Morris indicated, this evening we're seeking City Council approval of the annual budget and the pay plan so that we can proceed with the new fiscal year. But we are now making all the adjustments that we need to make to the comprehensive fiscal plan, and we'll bring that full document back to the City Council for approval in 2 weeks. The next slide, this provides a very high level of the proposed budget citywide. The FY21 budget projects 87.5 million in revenues and just under 87.1 million in expenses. The chart does not depict all of the categories in the budget, but highlights the primary revenue and expenses within the full citywide budget. This slide is intended to show the different funds. So as the City Council is aware, the city is required to account for its various revenues in individual funds to demonstrate that restricted revenues are indeed expended on their purpose. So you can see across the bottom, we have over 30 funds that we individually budget. And what this chart shows is the revenues and expenses associated with each of those funds in the FY21 budget to give you a feel for the impact of individual funds on the total citywide budget. Clearly, you can see that the general fund at over $35 million is the primary fund accounting for revenues and expenses for the city. So looking at a little bit more detail of the general fund revenue is projected at $35.9 million for FY21. And that is inclusive of the reductions that we made and discussed on April 20th for those revenue sources that we think will be reduced over the next several months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You can see that property taxes account for the overwhelming majority at more than 50% of the total general fund revenue in FY21. Conversely, at fiscal year 21 general fund expenses are projected at just under $35.9 million for 21. You can see how those expenses fall out in different categories, but what's notable is that there are 4 categories that are in shades of blue: salaries and wages, employee insurance, other employee benefits, and employer pension costs. That total 74.3% of the total general fund expenses. So this budget is very largely driven by the personnel accounted for in the general fund. Turning now to the expenses by department, this is just another way to show the different expenses and how they're allocated. This shows both the general fund budget and the citywide budget by department. And you can see that that changes a bit, primarily due to Parks and Recreation, which is not included in the general fund budget. It's a separate special revenue fund. So once you see that included on the citywide side with a few other expense categories like debt service, changes the portions of the pie a little bit when you look at it on a citywide basis. The proposed budget does include an investment of $10 million in the city's capital assets. Some of the more significant items are listed here on the slide. Street resurfacing of 1.75 million and additional road and bridge investments of 0.9 million indicate that about $2.7 million will be spent this year on various road and bridge improvements. Water and sanitary sewer improvements of 1.3 million are budgeted. Storm sewer improvements in the proposed budget before you this evening is $400,000 with an asterisk that, as discussed at the April 20th City Council Finance Committee meeting, the Borough Oak Storm Sewer Project of 4.3 million has been deferred to FY22. Ravine improvements of $700,000 and park and recreation investments of $700,000 are included, as is 1.2 million in a capital equipment replacement. Highlighting some of the budget revisions that have been made since the City Council Finance Committee met on March 12th. As mentioned before, the COVID-19 impacts have been identified and estimated to the best of our abilities, as this is still an ongoing issue. Many of those revenue estimates have been reduced in the projected budget. FY20 year-end estimates have been updated. FY20 general fund surplus allocations have been made based on the discussion. April 20th, we're projecting about $3.6 million in operating surplus for the general fund in the year that has just ended. And that is allocated $2 million to go to the capital fund to support the capital improvement program, $500,000 towards stimulus, local stimulus that the council has approved in the grant program at the last meeting. And also $500,000, as Chairman Morris indicated in his opening comments, to support the Park and Recreation Fund or the Deer Path Golf Course Fund, should they have operating losses in FY21 due to limitations on programming this summer. The Rosemary Ravine project was a 1NF project on March 12th, but we've been able to fund that and pull that into the FY21 budget so that project would proceed. As mentioned, the Borough Oak Storm Sewer project, a much larger project, would be deferred to FY22. And then we've talked already about the Park and Recreation Fund and Golf Course Fund treatment in the budget, which is very, very conservative. But we wanted those summer programs to be able to continue and be budgeted in the event COVID-19 restrictions allowed that to happen. And also, as noted by Chairman Morris, we will be giving a monthly report to the City Council for the foreseeable future at the second meeting each month, give you an idea of where our actual revenues and expenses are coming in compared to projections. As you know, long-term forecasting is very important to the city as part of the budget process. We're updating now the 5-year forecast for all the funds that are included in the comprehensive fiscal plan, but recognizing the importance of the general fund. This is the revised fund balance forecast for the general fund, reflective of the changes that have been made in the proposed budget before you this evening. We already talked about the $3 million transfer from FY20 operating surplus and where those monies are allocated. Right now in the proposed budget, due to the reductions in revenue forecasted, that would only support a $300,000 transfer in FY21 to the capital fund, which is significantly smaller than the number we had looked at on March 12th. And then we've done some early preliminary projections on 22 through 25, reflecting a longer return back to normal after the COVID-19. So the revenues in 22 through 25 do still include some reductions on previously forecasted revenues, anticipating that the return to current levels or previous levels of revenue may take more than a year to see. Important to note here, the city will continue to have significant reserves in the general fund. The city council has built those reserves over a number of years, understanding the potential implications of the state of Illinois' financial condition, and also recognizing that these reserves do allow us to be able to take our time to respond to events such as COVID-19 without having to make swift and immediate reductions in expenditures. So we can be thoughtful and can look at this and monitor it without having to make significant reductions in services provided to Lake Forest residents. So we did provide the summary of the budget included in your packet. It was separated by fund. It did include both the preliminary budget column that you saw on March 12th compared to the proposed budget that is before you this evening, so that you could see where those adjustments were made related to the discussion on April 20th. And this evening, we would ask for City Council's consideration of approving the FY21 annual budget and pay plan. And then we would be back in 2 weeks with the full comprehensive fiscal plan. I'm happy to answer any questions.
This has been a much more complicated process than in prior years, and complicated both because of the pandemic and the trying to estimate the impact on the state budget, and then how it comes back to us in various forms of revenue sharing. But I'd like to open it for questions from the council to the extent that anybody would like to ask one. Please let yourself be known.
Yeah, do I need to raise my hand?
Well, I can't see you, but so
Okay.
speaking up is fine.
Yes, this is Alderman Beidler. I guess the only thing I might say is, has anything jumped out at you and Director Holub since the last meeting that you would have us bear in mind as we take a look at this tonight?
Not from my perspective. I think the director's done a great job of trying to integrate all of the questions, comments, suggestions that we had in the prior 2 meetings. But Director Holub, maybe you want to comment on that, or City Manager Wisha?
Well, I think the only change from April 20th, and it has been a positive one, is that the golf course could open on May 1st. We did not know that on April 20th, so that is certainly a positive.
That's great. Do we have a report on how things are going? Was it a good weekend? Are we going to hear from somebody later about that? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I believe Recreation Director Swarthout's in the audience. Maybe she'd be willing to provide a brief update.
Yeah, let's hear.
Good evening, all. We had a good weekend. I don't have exact numbers. I haven't had a chance to connect with Vince. He was very busy over the weekend. I do know Friday we did open at 6:30. We did not start on time because we had frost delay, but I know that our tea times were booked out for the entire weekend. And I don't think we saw much of a change because the weather was beautiful. So I can provide some updated numbers via email tomorrow. I don't have the exact numbers right now in my hand.
Very good. Other questions from the council? If not, we can see if there are any questions from the residents. And you again can call the number I referenced earlier if you have a question, and the call center concierge can bring you into the meeting.
There are no calls at this time.
Very good. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to consider approval of the FY 2021 annual budget summary.
So moved. Second.
I'll take a roll call vote. Biddy?
If I can change that motion to and FY21 pay plan to include those words.
Include the pay plan?
Yes.
So be it.
Alderman Beidler,
And
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Kashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Moreno,
aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Very good. Again, we're going to turn to Director Holub for agenda item number 2, which is the annual vendor approval. I'm going to turn this over to Director Holub.
All right, thank you very much. This is a small list of vendors that the city council considers approval of each year in conjunction with the budget. Page 44 of your packet includes the list of vendors requested for approval this year, as well as historical information on those particular vendors so that you can see how their approvals have compared to previous years. So I will answer any questions, but other than that, we'd just be seeking city council approval of this list of vendors for FY21.
Very good. Members of the council, I can't see all of you, so if you do have a question, speak up. No questions? We'll ask the residents if anybody would like to ask a question. You can call in again to our call concierge. Doesn't sound like we have any callers. So with that, I'd like a motion to approve the attached list to the agenda of the vendors for the fiscal year 2021.
So moved.
Second,
Seconded.
Biddy?
Alderman Beidler,
Aye.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Kashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Moreno,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Very good. Now we'd like to move on to the Public Works portion of our agenda. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Director Thomas to talk about the approval of the 2020 bridge inspection services. Director Thomas?
If I may,
Sure.
I know Mayor Pandeleon has rejoined us on the meeting and had a presentation in his report as well. So maybe it makes sense to
Sure.
go back to comments by the mayor.
Let me ask Biddy and Attorney Tabendorf, do I turn the meeting back over to the mayor at this point?
You can do that, yes. You pro tem until for the temporary time while he's out.
To the mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for filling in. I apologize for my little technical problems at the beginning there. Did you go through the official starting of the meeting and the Pledge of Allegiance and all that while I was?
Yes, you've been covered for that. All you have to do is pick up with your comments.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks, Jed. I appreciate your filling in for me here and covering a couple of these items.
Sure.
The one thing that I wanted to introduce was a presentation about the recycling campaign educational effort which is being funded to the tune of $130,000 by the Lake Forest Garden Club. And they've been working closely with the Garden Club and Public Works to come up with this campaign. And Dan Martin, Superintendent of Public Works, will give us a little bit of an overview, a little snapshot of what the campaign is going to look like.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I am very pleased to be able to provide you with tonight's update on the city's recycling campaign. Please advance slide. The last time this topic was brought before the City Council was when the Lake Forest Garden Club came to the November 18th City Council meeting with a generous check. It happened to be $110, still quite a considerable sum, to fund a 2-year professional recycling campaign. At that meeting, Lake Forest Garden Club President Lauren Dixon provided an overview of the challenges the cities nationwide are facing with their recycling program. These issues include the low market availability for recycling material, as well as curbside recycling contamination. The Garden Club recognized that while we do not have the ability to control market availability and demand, everyone can control what is being placed in their curbside recycling cart. In order to be more environmental friendly and to save the city recycling processing costs, the Lake Forest Garden Club partnered with the city to fund this professional campaign. The overall goal of the campaign is to reduce the recycling contamination in Lake Forest from 25% to 10% by showing residents how to become better at recycling. To achieve this goal, the city hired the professional services of Lake Forest resident Marcus Norman of Norman Design Company. Achieving this campaign goal could save the city approximately $50,000 on an annual basis. If you recall, the Finance Committee reviewed these potential savings at the March budget meeting. With the growing cost of the city's recycling processing fees not being the most uplifting news to share that evening, this campaign, however, is here to help. I'm thrilled to announce that today the campaign officially launched, and it launched on time. Please advance to the next slide. Without further ado, I'm excited to introduce Rethink Recycling with Bart the Cart. Rethink Recycling features a new animated character named Bart the Cart, who provides smart recycling guidelines via a new website. In the upper right corner of your screen, you can see our campaign mascot, Bart, as well as a screenshot of the new website at bartthecart.com. The campaign comes down to 4 easy to follow guidelines shared on your screen. Another major component of the Rethink Recycling is an updated recycling chart and cart sticker. In the middle of your screen, you will see that we have updated the yes/no chart. All Lake Forest residents will eventually have this new sticker applied to their own cart, as the city's sanitation section will soon be applying these new stickers. Next slide, please. Rethink Recycling and Bart the Cart campaign will also feature numerous other communication pieces that, for instance, include, you can see on your screen, but Bart's own Facebook and Instagram page, dialogue communication and inserts, posters, which is in the middle of the screen as an example, recycling contamination audits, city recycling truck magnets, also on the screen on the bottom right corner, and videos and more. Next screen, please. On this next slide is a brief introduction video from the bartthecart.com website.
Hey everybody, I'm Bart the Cart, and I've been asked to help Lake Forest residents rethink recycling and be even better recyclers. See, Lake Forest can save a lot of money if we're more careful about what we put into our recycling carts. And with most everyone at home during the coronavirus outbreak, more and more recyclables are stacking smart recycling is more important than ever. Your recycling cart, well, it's guess it's my tummy, feels a whole lot better when contaminated stuff is kept out. Lately, I had some indigestion due to being fed some non-recyclable items like styrofoam. Blech! You can find my super simple recycling guidelines at artthecart.com. Check them out because better recycling means good things for our environment and dollars saved for our community. And for me, a happy tummy. See you around.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to thank the city staff team, Marcus and his team, and most importantly, the Lake Forest Garden Club for everyone's effort related to the launch of the Rethink Recycling campaign. We didn't know when we developed Rethink Recycling that we would soon be dealing with a pandemic that would force most of us to stay inside. But we know now that stay-at-home families produce much more refuse than recyclables. So now more than ever, we need to reduce contaminated recyclables. Next slide, please. Question. Thank you.
Dan,
Thanks, Dan. Any questions or comments from the council?
yes, Mr. Mayor, it's Alderman Beidler. I have a question for Dan, if I could. Dan, could you explain what a tangler is?
Absolutely. A tangler is anything that is, gangly, like a lot of people will throw in ropes or extension cords or hangers from the cleaners. All those kind of tanglers get in there and mess up the processing. And many times they're not even recyclable at their curbside. There's other options for them to be recycled, which can also be found on the Cart to Cart website.
So what about if I get a paper bag from a purchase and it has string handles on it? Does that tangle things? Is that a tangler? If they're attached to the bag, or does that mess up that bag being able to be recycled?
It's not as critical as some of the other tanglers
Okay.
But I would say if it's easily enough to cut them off and
Yeah.
there's not too many of them, I would recommend that and then put the paper in.
Okay. Well, I'll go to the website and ask Bart the rest of my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'd just like to make a comment that congratulations on the launch of this program, and a special call out to not only the Garden Club, but to Marcus Norman for all of his work on this and his creativity that obviously went into this whole program and whole presentation. I'm so sorry that we have to do this all remotely and we couldn't do this whole rollout in person at a live city council presentation, because I'm sure it would be even more impressive were we able to do that. But thank you so much for your efforts on this behalf and for everyone who worked on this much, much needed project. So thank you.
Thank you. Am I hearing somebody trying to say something? Okay. Well, thank you, Dan. This looks like a great start. Now, all we can do is hope that it achieves the desired outcome, which is to save a lot more than the cost of the program.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Quick procedural question. Next item on my agenda is opportunity for citizens to address the city council. Did we already do that?
Yes, yeah, we covered that, and
Okay.
we're down to Public Works and the approval of the bridge inspection program.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. So next item on the agenda is Public Works Committee. First item is approval of the 2020 Bridge Inspection Services contract to Wiss Janney Elsner and Associates for a total not to exceed amount of $199,440. Michael Thomas, are you online here?
I am. Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. This evening, staff is requesting City Council approval for one of our FY21 capital items. Very similar to our storm sewer study, our IMS study, our lining and smoke testing, our ravine analysis. Those are all important parts of our infrastructure that we have very good studies and analysis on, and good forecasting and capital plans. Later this summer, Dan Martin's going to be bringing back a request to City Council to evaluate our water meters and our water mains. This is yet another very important part of the infrastructure, our bridges. And this was a study that we would like to proceed with to give us a very, very good detailed analysis of all of our bridges in town. We have a total of 25 of them, 14 vehicle, 11 pedestrian. But to do them, we need to have more than just a very simple visual look at all of them. So this study actually includes detailed inspections, non-destructive testing, material sampling, laboratory testing, prioritized repairs then, and a list of recommended projects and future capital projects for us to review in the fall months as we go ahead and update our 5-year capital plan. For us, that is due mid-October. So we're requesting City Council's approval this evening for this analysis so the engineering firm can begin right away and provide staff then this report by mid to late August, potentially early September, and we can review the data and again update our recommendations. The recommended company, Weiss Janney. Weiss Janney is obviously a very well-known and respected engineering firm. They specialize in bridge analysis, bridge designs, bridge analysis. We went ahead and put together an RFP, a request for proposal. We put it on our bid system referred to Quest CDN. So engineering firms and contractors anywhere can sign up to receive notifications when we, the city, put out any of our projects out to bid, whether they're capital projects, whether they're RFP project or RFPs, requests for proposals. So that goes out to them immediately, and if they so choose, they can download those specifications and those RFP documents, review them, and if they so choose, they can then submit a response. This one actually, as I noted early on, includes some very, very detailed analysis, and we only received one response, but again, I think we at the staff level, we reviewed this with our Public Works Committee last Tuesday at their Public Works Committee meeting, reviewed and discussed all the different details that they're going to be doing: ultrasonic thickness testing, impact echoes, ground penetrating radar, different samples of the concrete and steel. Weiss Janney has labs in-house. That's why they're able to perform all of these services on all these bridges at a very competitive rate. So with all of that, we are ourselves at staff and the Public Works Committee are recommending City Council's approval to proceed with this analysis. With that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
No questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Seconded. Second.
Okay, we need a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Beidler,
Aye.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Notes, Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gushgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Moreno,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the Illinois Route 60 Bike Path Phase 1 Design Project to Bleck Engineering for a total not to exceed amount of $48,000. Also presented by Michael Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Again, included in the FY21 capital plan Staff is requesting approval to proceed with design on what we refer to as phase one of a bike path proposal. Phase one design essentially puts together the very basics and puts together a very specific location of where this path may be located. We have been working with Kathy Cerniak, Director of Community Development. She has been working with all the field partner businesses. And as we begin to get into this phase one design, we will obviously work with Kathy and the businesses to discuss the actual specific location. We do know that the proposed 10-foot wide path would be on the north side of Route 60, located from Academy Drive out to 294. We want to hook up the bridge that comes over the freight tracks and the path system there. Phase one design allows us then to apply for grants for phase two design, which is the actual detailed design and construction. So it's one of those items where we want to try and put ourselves in the best position to secure a grant for this. We have applied for a grant a couple of times and have been denied. We believe that proceeding with phase one design and with the city paying for that, that we could put the city in a better position to hopefully obtain dollars for phase two design and the subsequent construction. So with that, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
This is Chad. I have a question for you, Director Adams. I haven't looked that closely, but when it reaches the bridge over 294, what happens at the bridge and on the other side, you know?
What we would be in, well, one of the things that we have discussed in years past with the village administrator of Metawa is to try to see if the village would, they themselves, put together a design and have a path connect up to. I believe the county and Alderman Rummel, you may be able to fill in a little on this, but on the west side of 294, I believe they do have a path that comes to a certain point, but we would need then them to connect up to this path. So in other words, there would need to be some additional work to connect the two systems up.
Okay, I'm anxious to see this go forward. I think it just makes Lake Forest look more attractive as a bike-friendly community. So this looks good.
I agree. And when this came before the Public Works Committee, I endorsed it with enthusiasm. I think that I speak for a lot of people who drive down Route 60 and know that that bridge is there, and despair that there is a lack of connectivity to parts further west where there are a number of bike-friendly forest preserves. You could link into, in fact, the Des Plaines River Trail by continuing west. So I think it's essential, it's exciting, it's part of the Route 60 newly revised comprehensive plan, and I would just love to see it move forward, as I think we all would, and many residents and cyclists would as well. So it's my sincere hope that we can get the grant money as soon as possible and move forward with this project. Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to approve the Illinois Route 60 Bike Path Phase 1 design project to Black Engineering for a not to exceed amount of $48,000.
So moved.
Second.
A roll call vote, please.
Alderman Beidler,
Aye.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Goshgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Marino,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is items for omnibus vote consideration. I'll read the 8 items. First is approval of the April 2020 City Council meeting minutes. Second is approval of the check register for the period of March 22nd to April 24th, 2020. Third is approval of Right Benefit Strategies benefit consulting services for fiscal year 2021 in the amount of $30,900. Fourth is a request for the city council to increase the approved purchase order amount of $26,760 approved on May 20th, 2019 for Lake County Press to provide professional printing services of the city dialogue community-wide newsletter for $28,179. Fifth is a request to approve purchasing a replacement ambulance by AEV Inc. in a not to exceed amount of $290,000 via the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Program. Sixth item is approval of Forest Park Bluffs redesign services and a 3-year bluff monitoring agreement with Hay and Associates in the amount of $72,735. Seventh is award of a bid for the Illinois Road and Stonegate Lane curb improvements and the Mayflower Ravine crossing improvements to Alliance Contractors in the amount of $47,815 to include a 10% contingency for a total of $52,596.50. And eighth is an award of bid for the fiscal year 21 concrete flatwork project to A-Lamp Concrete Contractors, Inc. for a not to exceed amount of $103,773. Are there any items on here that any member of the council would like to have removed or taken separately? Okay, then I would entertain approval of the 8 omnibus items as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of the 8 omnibus items as presented. Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Beidler.
Aye.
Alderman Morris. Alderman Notes.
Aye.
Alderman Rummel.
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack.
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian.
Aye.
Alderman Moreno.
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
Maybe that was
Yay,
high from me, Jed.
I
It was on
saw
mute.
your mouth.
Okay.
8 yay, 0 nay. Motion carries.
Thank you. Well, the next item on the agenda is additional items for discussion, comments by council members. I'm going to kick this one off. At our next session, we'll have some formal resolutions of appreciation for our departing aldermen, but this is the final meeting for Alderman Beidler and Alderman Marino after 6 years of truly dedicated and extraordinary service to the community. I won't go on and on, but I will say I've worked with both of them extensively over the years. I first met Michelle when she was a member of the audit committee and then became the chairman of the audit committee and moved from there to the council, where she's been a great source of guidance for the city in terms of financial matters and brings just a tremendous acumen and many, many, many long hours in the Public Works Committee, which is probably our busiest of all our committee assignments. So thank you, Michelle, for a wonderful 6 years, and I'm sure we'll be finding other things to keep you busy going forward. And then Alderman Beidler, I've known for even longer, has just covered such a wide gamut of service to the city over the years. But since joining the city council, she's been primarily responsible for the city's marketing campaign. She took on the task of leading the charge, raising funds for the golf course improvement, along with Alderman Newman at the time. She was very involved in raising funds for the Forest Park North Beach Access Road. Her contributions in terms of outreach to the community to make this a better city is legendary and endless, and you're going to be very much missed on the council. But as you know, we already have some things in store for you too. So thank you both. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and hope you enjoy your newfound freedom. Any other alderman would like to comment? maybe we'll go in order of ward. So maybe Alderman Morris, you could kick it off if you're so inclined.
I had to get off mute, but I am. Maybe first to Michelle, I wanted to tell you, Michelle, how much I've appreciated your thoughtfulness and your financial insight on all of our council deliberations. I think that you represented your ward constituents and the city at large extremely well during your 6 years on the council. And I found that you always seem to ask the most interesting and penetrating questions in our meetings. And similarly of our city staff, always pressing them for more information and more justification for what they're asking to do. I think your comments generated really good discussions that left the council in a much better place. So I, for one, will miss your financial acumen and sharing of all those municipal finance insights that come in those articles and research that you send to me. So thank you for your support for me and the council. And I certainly wish you well in your retirement. So thank you very much. And if I might, I'd like to turn my attention back over to Alderman Beidler, who I wanted to thank Prue for your friendship and your thoughtful advice during our 4 years together. I was reflecting back on our time together, and I kept coming back to your leadership, as the mayor mentioned, in the community for all those critical public-private partnerships that you engendered. I think Lake Forest would have been deprived of some of its best assets without your leadership. And just going back in time for a minute, we go back to 2000, you were the co-chair spearheading the Market Square 2000 renovation project. And you led the effort with the Garden Club to create an award-winning plan for Market Square, which is then donated by the Lake Forest Garden Club. And then you worked with the city staff, individuals and local organizations to again help implement that plan. And then if you fast forward to 2013 and the Forest Park renovation, you were the initial member of the Forest Park Project Corporation Board. And the Forest Park Project became one of our most successful public-private partnerships. You worked with them to develop the plans and policies for private community donations. You led the board and volunteers in soliciting individuals and corporations. And with your leadership, over $4.3 million was raised for the Forest Park renovation. Pretty amazing. But then moving on to the city's Welcome Home marketing campaign, you chaired the effort to create the Welcome Home initiative. You helped design the program to communicate to people who are looking for a new home for themselves, for their family, or for their business. And the campaign continues today and may continue to bring new residents to our town, especially in light of the current pandemic, who want to maybe escape the city and come to a safer place. And then moving on to the Deer Path Golf Course. You know, Prue helped establish the golf course public-private partnership with the objective of raising more than $2 million in private funds to improve the course. And this project has helped improve drainage. It's improved the course halfway restroom facilities, expanded the driving range, created a new short game practice area. And the partnership still focused on upgrading the cart fleet and building a new cart bar. And then finally, the Beach Bluff renovation. You know, Prue, you jumped in to organize private donations to help pay for a bluff renovation that saved significant Forest Park tableland above the failed bluff. Your efforts raised over $600,000 to ensure the city would be able to reroute the North Beach access road and save the tableland, creating a dramatic new access to the beach. I think we all appreciate your recurring leadership in building a better Lake Forest. You exemplify all of the best in our community. So I personally hope that you'll continue, and I think George said you would, to help us with your leadership. We will all benefit from your ability to find and motivate private sector partners to help sustain our community. So Prue, best wishes to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, George.
Thanks, Jed. Alderman Notes? Any comment? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Being the junior member of the council, I was disappointed coming on last October, knowing my time with both of you would be so short. Michelle, over the years, I've gotten to know you, particularly through the city council dinners every spring, and really enjoyed those opportunities to get to know you better, even though we haven't had time to work together closely, but really enjoyed becoming friends with you. Prue, you and I have served on a number of boards over the years together. I was excited to get onto another one with you, and again, disappointed that our time was too short. I look forward to finding whatever that other thing will be, crossing paths again together soon on. It's always you're a great colleague on these boards with great insights and thought processes, and your presence will be missed on city council for sure. But I know I will see lots of you around town, so this is certainly by no means goodbye. And I look forward to the next chapters ahead for both of us.
Thank you. Alderman Rummel?
Well, first of all, Alderman Morris, thank you for that retelling of the many, many contributions that Prue has made to our community on and off the council. Prue and I go back a ways. I recall meeting her in the late 80s as we worked with the League of Women Voters in conjunction with the city on a community survey to demonstrate the need for daycare centers in Lake Forest. The survey led to the opening of the first daycare centers in the community based on proof that there were indeed working mothers in Lake Forest who could utilize that service. Prue was already recognized and respected as a leader back in those days and as an advocate for women, something she continues to this day. She has continued that advocacy throughout her life and career. So as a tribute to her, her work, and the generation of women I know she is proud to represent through her continued advocacy, and also in recognition of the fact that this year represents the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, I would like to take this opportunity to just reflect a bit on what I see as a symbolic moment for this council. I think this is a fitting tribute to both Prue and Michelle. Tonight, to me, and I believe to Prue and Michelle as well, it symbolizes the passing of the torch from one generation of women to another. Our generation in many ways forged the way for our daughters. Our generation of women were the first to enter typically male-dominated professions in any number. We three women on the dais tonight, virtually, are of that generation. This morning, a bit of trivia came into my inbox. A total of 65 women have been astronauts and sent into space. I was surprised by that number. Present company excluded, to date in the 150 plus years of this community, there have been 9 women aldermen. Most sat alone on the dais. Virginia Feaster Fredericks was the first in 1974. 2014 was historic for the city council, and Prue and Michelle were there. It was the first time that there were 2 women elected. With Kathy Waldeck already on the council, for the first time there were 3 women on the 9-person city council at the same time. Tonight, as Prue and Michelle leave the council and Eileen and Jennifer take their seats, that number will remain constant. There is still room for progress and opportunities for quality women to serve in our community, and I encourage more of them to come forward. Like many women of our generation, and still true of many women today, Prue is an overachiever. No one on this dais can compare to the eloquence with which she advocates for a position. She met the challenge of forging new ground in leading the first of its kind committee to market the city in the face of a declining real estate market. She has been a steadfast advocate for our natural environment in her capacity as chairman of the Civic Beautification Committee and also the Deer Path Streetscape Committee. Her philanthropic and fundraising leadership has been a tremendous asset not only to the council but to the community. Faced with Prue as an advocate who could say no, Personally, Prue, you were a trusted confidant as we worked through some of the difficult challenges that faced the council in recent years. That's not to say we have always been on the same side of issues, but any discussion or debate was always within the bounds of friendship and respect. I will miss you greatly. I look forward to the contributions this next generation of women we welcome tonight will give to us. Jennifer and Eileen. It is with deep respect, much regret, and with unwavering appreciation for your friendship, leadership, and support that I don't say goodbye tonight, but look forward to the time when we may again work together. Virtual hug. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman
Michelle,
Presley?
can I talk about Michelle a little bit?
Oh, sure. I thought you were. I apologize.
Michelle, I well recall the first time I saw you in action. It was 3 years ago. I was an alderman-elect and I decided to attend the 4th Ward meeting during a contentious period. I thought I would get a taste for what I may be in for. It turned out to be, for me, a tutorial on how to handle controversy under pressure with grace, understanding, and empathy, yet firmness. It was courtesy of Michelle Moreno. When one speaks of Michelle or speaks with her and expresses an opinion, she's giving you her total attention and you feel it. You feel confident she will give your point of view respectful consideration, whether she's agreeing with you or not. I'm sure her 4th Ward constituents would agree with me. Michelle has brought remarkable experience and professional knowledge to her service, to both to the city and the audit committee, and later to the council. I've had the privilege of serving with Michelle on the Public Works Committee as well as the council. Her viewpoint and careful analysis are incredibly respected on both sides. Michelle has an analytical way of approaching an issue and often brings in a different perspective informed by her career experience as a financial analyst. I have seen her remarks turn the direction of many council discussions. That is a true sign of the respect she has earned from her colleagues. She also respects process and on more than one occasion has reminded others of the importance of following that process. Michelle exemplifies the working woman. She balances a challenging career and family obligations beautifully with serving her community. On a personal note, I feel you and I often connected on issues from across the dais, finding support from one another in many ways. I have the greatest respect for your opinion and will greatly miss your careful analysis and impartial wisdom on the council. Michelle, your input, background, and perspective have been a unique gift to this city, and they're irreplaceable. I would greatly welcome the opportunity to work together again with you, and I will greatly miss your friendship and counsel. Thank you for your service. Virtual hug.
Thank you. Alderman Preschlack.
So Alderman Rummel just said everything I was going to say about both of them. So I'm just going to go off the cuff here. You know, first, Michelle, you are always very professional and always very prepared on all of the meetings and all of the agenda items that came up. And I really concur on all the things that Alderman Rummel said. But your professionalism, your grace, and your very calm demeanor and your financial acumen always just brought a lot of value to our conversations. And you also kept it light and fun. And I think you both did that very, very well. Aside from being extremely productive and helpful, and you always were light and fun and just a pleasure to be with. So just really appreciate your service. I know it's a lot of work, kind of going back to all the committees that you've been on, and it's something that makes our town very, very special. And so thanks a lot for your service, and hopefully you're not going to be done. There's other committees and ad hoc things to get involved in. And also want to echo that Alderman Morris's comments about your ability to represent your ward and the city constituents. You always had an eye for, the broader good and what was on people's minds. And you always ask really, really good questions to try to facilitate that perspective. So we're going to miss you, and hopefully we'll be able to do this in person over a dinner as well. So thank you very much. And Prue, I think the first time I saw Prue in action was when I was on the HPC. And Prue, I don't know if you remember, but you actually testified in front of the HPC on the redesign. And I just think you bring so much energy and passion to all the positions and the causes that you really care about. And that's really at the end of the day what matters. People kind of remember how people make them feel, and you always were so excited about a topic that it's hard not to be excited about it. And I think that carried through on all the different things that you got involved in on the city council. You're always a cheerleader and a great ambassador, if it was Welcome Home or the golf course or the beach. And so thank you so much for doing that. And just really being high energy and thoughtful, and really both of you care so much about our community, and it really just came across in how you both shared your gifts with us and our town. So thank you so much, and please both just stay involved in the community. And on behalf of everybody in the community, thank you.
Jim. Alderman Garian, any comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, George Burns once said the key to a good sermon is to have a good beginning, a good ending, and have the two as close as possible. So I'm going to start with Michelle. And I decided to make these one-words or one-liners: thoughtful, deliberative, balanced, and able to see two sides of the same coin. Prue, kind, balanced, a passionate hometowner, the heart of the community, and both of you represent all that is good in governance. FDR said, be sincere, be brief, and be seated, and I'm done. Thank you.
Alderman Bushman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to address some comments about Alderman Beidler. My fellow aldermen have done a wonderful job of describing her involvement, extensive involvement in Lake Forest, her many accomplishments, but I wanted to try and keep things simple. So I tried to focus in on one characteristic, one word to describe her. Actually, Alderman Preschlack beat me to the punch by saying it. The one word I came up with is cheerleader. Why? Because she has simply been the greatest of cheerleaders for the city of Lake Forest. So as a tribute to all her cheerleading, I put together a little cheer for dear Alderman Beidler. So here goes. This is the time for doing some cheering for Prue. Remember, she felt a campaign for Lake Forest was long overdue. So when she became an alderman, it was now within her purview to come up with a promo plan and decide how to do. She put together a team, a truly valuable crew, to develop a story about the city and its amazing view. She named it Welcome Home, which was nice and new, shouted it out as to what great things we do. To give our dear city what clearly is its due, Welcome Home went far and wide to more than a few. The promo was of great success, that it just grew and grew. Yes, Lake Forest, we do appreciate what Prue did for you. So thank you, our one and only Prue. Here's 3 cheers for you. Moving on to Michelle. Again, not to repeat what was said, but Alderman Rummel used the one word that I came up with to focus in on my comments for Alderman Marino. The one word I felt that does best describe her was used by a famous singer, Aretha Franklin, when she said, RESPECT, find out what it means to me, RESPECT. Yes, respect, respect, respect. And what does that word mean? I think here's a good definition. It's a feeling of deep admiration for someone elicited by their abilities, by their qualities, or by their achievements. Let's look at Michelle's abilities. They are many. She's skilled in measuring, modeling, and analyzing the numbers. She's in the business of giving good, sound, professional advice to help others, and she has done just that for our city, far beyond budgets, financial statements, and planning. And to our benefit, has never billed us for the great value we have received for the past 6 years. We do owe her a debt of gratitude. Now let's look at her qualities, which are beyond comparison. As a master of economics, she uses the numbers as a tool to measure, model, plan, and implement. But there's another quality of hers beyond number crunching. And it's the personal qualities that she emulates. The qualities of integrity, dignity, understanding, and yes, respect of others. Qualities that are so evident, we all see it when she interacts with the council, with our staff, whether it be Jason, Biddy, Elizabeth, the Mikes, Kathy, Sally, and the many others within our organization, and with the residents, our citizens. I've personally seen how she has dealt with our citizens on many occasions that have shown her respect for them, and our residents in response have clearly shown their respect for her. Her achievements have been so impactful, certainly for me as her fellow 4th Ward Alderman. She has provided good counsel and fellowship, always there, whether in good times or in difficult times. And for all of us, maybe her greatest achievement can be put simply as this: when she speaks, we listen and we learn. Again, our feeling for you, Alderman Marino, is that of RESPECT. Yes, we have a great admiration for your abilities, your qualities, and your achievements. To close with words I know Alderman Marino understands, merci beaucoup und vielen Dank. A sincere and most appreciated thanks for you, Michelle.
Grazie.
Merci.
Thank you.
George, are we going to get a crack at each other?
That's the next item here. I wanted to have.
I know we get to talk about our own experiences, but may I talk about Michelle?
You can absolutely.
Okay, I didn't want to be cheated out of that. I have a few remarks prepared. Thank you. As Melanie mentioned a little bit earlier, when Michelle and I joined the City Council 6 years ago, it was a sort of a thing. 3 women on the City Council. And there seemed to be a lot of conversation about that. We tried to point out that we were 3 committed people, that the women was part of it. Kathy Waldeck and the guys were very welcoming. And I think both Michelle and I felt comfortable from the start, eager to become engaged and productive. Michelle brought a significant financial skill on which the council and city staff depended frequently and right from the start. She took an interest in reporting particularly, and how we did it as a city and how it could possibly be improved. She brought this, how could this be improved approach to every council meeting. She would urge us to look a little deeper, think a little more out of the box, and a little further into the future. Her touch was always gentle, so we always listened carefully to what Michelle suggested. She reminded us of this as a strategic approach. It may be easier for a suggestion to be accepted if it has been offered both clearly and quietly. Michelle's inclination is to kindness, and this made her a wonderful teammate. She didn't think the city council had to agree all the time, but she was so respectful of others' views and ideas and glad to propose her own, but never dogmatic about their achievement. She is a great team player because she seems genuinely to like being part of the team, figuring out how to get things done in group settings. I feel incredibly lucky to have served 6 years with her, and I look forward to a continuing friendship.
Thank you, Prue. And it's my turn, I think, I hope.
Yep.
Mayor. Well, first, Prue, you have been just a guiding light for me. You have no idea. Your vision for the city and for our lives and the quality of the way we live have been above anything that I could possibly have dreamed. And I have been to be there in that light. You have been such a guide and such a leader. And I am truly, truly honored to have had this time with you. It has been our first chance. It's been my first chance with many of you. And that's because I work too much. But I have truly enjoyed this. I can't imagine a group of people so qualified, so caring, and so together, even in disagreeing together. And that's hugely powerful to me. This form of government and the way we conduct ourselves, for me, is exactly what it should be. I am so honored to be a part of this city, and I look forward to whatever needs may arise. I'm thrilled to know all of you and to have worked with each of you. It's really been exceptional. And I have to say that Ray's at the top of that list. Mayor Pantaleon, may I continue through other people? Okay, keep going. Okay, great. Ray, you've been a real champ. I realize that we come from different perspectives at times. And I have just really relished our interactions. You look at the world differently than I do in some ways, and very much the same in others. And that has been just such a pleasure for me. You are amongst the most thoughtful people I've ever met. Very insightful and very deliberate also. And that, I think, has made us a really good partnership for the Fourth Ward, where we've dealt with a lot of different things and yet also dealing with and looking at the city as a whole always, because that's who we are and that's what we do. And it's been just wonderful to work with you. I've truly, truly enjoyed it, not only at the council level, but also in public works. So I was concerned when I lost Alderman Edelman, but I certainly realized that you stepped in a different way and with different skills, and I've just truly embraced those. I thank you so much for being who you are and being my team. Great. So I'm going to go backward through the council for a change. And I'm going to start with go next to Ward 3. Era, Alderman Gashgarian, what a pleasure to meet you. Your dedication to this city and to this community and to family life have been truly heartwarming for me. You care deeply about what is brought to this city, and I have really enjoyed your comments, whether it's looking at newer issues and products and their impact on us, all the way through to how we might do a better job with drainage, which is an issue in every ward. I really appreciate the commitments that you've made to attending Public Works Committee meetings when it's appropriate, and throughout every issue that we deal with on council. It's really been remarkable, and I thank you for it. Alderman Preschlack, what a joy. You're fun, you're process driven, you're a BPO, BPM kind of guy, and I love outsourcing and I love business process management as well. And you look at the big picture and you engage us all at a level that brings a real commitment to doing things in the best possible way, including right, but also including balance with human characteristics. And I really appreciated that. You're a visionary, and I appreciate that. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to more of the same. Moving into Ward 2, Alderman Notes. It's been great to get to know you a little bit more than the occasional dinner. You've just, your experience in certainly in real estate and markets, your ability to look at issues from a different perch. I know that you will continue to bring great value to everything that's on council's agenda. And it's really been great to get to know you in a different way. I do feel our time has been short, but I know that I'll continue to see you on the YouTube. So I appreciate that and look forward to future opportunities to run into you in downtown Chicago someday when even if we're social distancing, I can yell across the street or something. Thank you. And then going to Melanie. Wow, you've been fun. You look at the world in a very deterministic, in a way, and also with the insight of looking forward without losing track of history. And that's, again, it's a visionary element that you've brought to every Public Works Committee meeting. And, thinking about, well, where does this drop of water really gonna go? And how does it get there? And what's it gonna do along the way? I mean, that kind of insight is so important to us because water flows in so many different directions, despite Michael Thomas and his crew's determination that it go where it needs to go. So, you've just been really great to work with. I know that we had lots of different types of discussions, and I love the fact that you are focused on the environment, because if we don't protect it, we'll lose it. And that's not a place I want to be. So I'm very grateful to you. You've been a real champ also. So you and Ray on Public Works have been a real team to contend with and to work with, and I've enjoyed that. Mayor Pantaleone, you are exceptional. There's no question. I'm so glad that you're with us as our mayor, and I'm just delighted to have had the chance to work with you again, first on audit, then on as an alderman, and now as mayor. I'm delighted for your guidance of the city and your interaction with all of the staff and your ability to lead us at a time when we can't be in the same room. We can't sit around together and talk through issues. Your guidance is just unmatched, and you're serving us at a time when we need you the most. So I'm really delighted. I'm sorry to go, but at the same time, I respect term limits immensely. Thank you, Ray, for ESPCT. And I know that we will be a stronger city for it. I have had the pleasure of meeting so many phenomenal people from my caucus days all the way through to being an alderwoman, and I've appreciated that very much. I mean, we are so blessed, not only with our residents, but also with our staff. And I would be hugely remiss without thanking all of them. They have done a phenomenal job, past, present, and future. And I'm truly honored to have had this opportunity and this privilege. So I thank you all.
Thank you. We're certainly going to miss you, Michelle. Drew, would you like to have any last words here?
I would, if that's okay. They're going to be a little bit more general, and I think my plan is to be, I want to thank each of you individually for my fellow aldermen for the things you've said. So I had this really good plan. This really good plan is if I wrote this all out, I could, do it and not get crazy emotional. I am, however, the person who watching the high school videos at our last meeting broke down. So, no promises on that. These are not the remarks I would have made if we were experiencing our normal run of things. The element which remains the same is the part where I say that my 6 years on City Council reflect what I've learned in decades of not-for-profit board service. Be mindful of your organization's history and its roots, and remember that stewarding the organization into a secure future is the task at hand. But the COVID-19 pandemic has changed so much, including how we now operate as a city and as citizens living within the city. The pandemic has reminded all of us what we value and who we are or try to be. It's given us the chance to be thankful for many blessings we may have taken for granted before. Gives us a chance to let gratitude be a more regular companion. Among many, many blessings, I am grateful that my husband, Frank, brought me to Lake Forest to raise our family, the town in which he himself was raised. One of the reasons I said yes to serving on the city council was that it gave me an opportunity to say thank you to a community that has meant so much to us. My appreciation now is deeper than ever. Intellectually, I knew a pandemic was possible and that smart people were thinking carefully about how to prepare for its inevitability. I did not, however, imagine myself living through what we are currently experiencing. In this community, we are so lucky to be living in a city that has been managed well for so long. Take a moment to be thankful for the city, fathers and mothers who have ensured the financial stability of this community and a commitment to its long-held values. I am thankful for Mayor Pandeleon and City Manager Wisha, who have ably led our city under very complicated circumstances. I am thankful to the city's superb staff, with whom I have very much enjoyed working. I am thankful to the dedicated council members in the room tonight, or virtually in the room tonight, and those I've served with in the past, with whom I've greatly enjoyed serving. Lake Forest, I know, is well positioned to be strong throughout this challenging period, and it will continue to be an outstanding community in which to live and raise a family. My wonderful successor as Ward 1 Alderman, Jennifer Karras, will no doubt spend considerable time discussing Illinois' financial mismanagement and how it impacts us as a municipality, as I have done for the past 6 years. Yet I will now say something I have never said during this 6 years. I feel lucky right now to live in Illinois, a state whose governor sees his citizens' health and well-being as his highest priority. The opportunity to work in city government has been one of the richest of my life, and for that I thank the caucus for encouraging me to step from cemetery commission service to city council, to my peers on the council and on city staff for being supportive, inspiring, and wonderful partners. It's been a fascinating and fulfilling 6 years.
Thank you very much. I feel like I should say something, but so much of what I would have said has been said that I think I'll just finish with a heartfelt thank you to both of you for your dedicated and heartfelt service to the city, and you will both be very much missed on our team. And no fair watching from the sidelines and laughing while we deal with some of this stuff going forward. But thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to work with both of you, and I'm sure there will be many more times where we can all work together again. So
Thank you. Thank you.
I think Jason was supposed to say this, but I'm going to steal his thunder. We normally have a presentation of some fun gifts and prizes at this moment. We're going to reserve that for the next time we actually have a meeting together in person. So you're both going to be invited back for that special occasion, and we will have a farewell dinner as soon as we can find a restaurant that's open. So
Thank you. Thank you.
so thank you both. I know we're all going to miss you, and we hope to keep seeing you around town and involved as you always have been in the community. There being no other business, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. There'll be about a 5-minute break before the next session convenes.
Can we have a virtual standing ovation?
Right back at you.
Thank you.
In the city of Lake Forest,
in the county of Lake,
in the county of Lake,
and in the state of Illinois,
and in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Alderman Karas.
Thank you.
Alderman-elect Notes, may you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Edward Notes,
Having been elected to the office of Alderman
having been elected to the office of Alderman
of the city of Lake Forest
of the city of Lake Forest
and in the county of Lake
in the county of Lake
and in the state of Illinois,
and in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Alderman Notes. Alderman-elect Preschlack, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jim Preschlack,
Having been elected to the office of Alderman
having been elected to the office of Alderman
of the city of Lake Forest
of the city of Lake Forest
and in the county of Lake
and in the county of Lake
and in the state of Illinois,
and in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Alderman Preschlack. Alderman-elect Weber, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Eileen Weber,
Having been elected to the office of Alderman
having been elected to the office of Alderman
of the city of Lake Forest
of the city of Lake Forest
in the county of Lake
in the county of Lake
and in the state of Illinois,
and in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will discharge the said duties of said office.
and that I will discharge the set duties of due office.
I'm sorry. And let's go back to the Constitution. I will support the Constitution of the state of Illinois
And that I will support the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
and that I will discharge the duties of said office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Alderman Weber.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor? We can't hear you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, I believe you're muted.
You couldn't hear the gavel banging? Sorry. Welcome to the Monday, May 4th, 2020 virtual second session of the Lake Forest City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Honorable Mayor Pandeleon.
Here.
Alderman Morris.
Here.
Alderman Karas.
Here.
Alderman Rummel. Alderman Notes.
Here.
Alderman Preschlack.
Here.
Alderman Gushkarian.
Here.
Alderman Bushman.
Here.
Alderman Weber.
Here.
Mr. Mayor. you have
Alderman
the
Rummel
floor.
is here. I didn't unmute my.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
you have a quorum.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is election and appointment of city officers. The election by the city council and appointments by the mayor as required by the charter and the city code. City supervisor, Jason Wisha. City treasurer, Elizabeth Holub. City clerk, Margaret Boyer. City marshal and collector, Carl Waldorf. City attorney, Julie Tappendorf. City surveyor and engineer, Gaywalt Hamilton Associates. I would entertain a motion to approve the mayor's appointments.
So
So
moved.
moved. Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, can we do a roll call since we're on remote?
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Biddy, would you please call the, do a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Morris.
Aye.
Alderman Karas.
Aye.
Alderman Rummel.
Aye.
Alderman Notes.
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack.
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian.
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Thank you, Biddy. Next item on the agenda is comments by mayor. We have resolutions of thanks for both Alderman Beidler and Alderman Marino, which I will now read. First, Prue Beidler. Whereas Prue Beidler has been an active philanthropist and volunteer since moving here in 1976, serving on the I Have a Dream program, the Chicago Children's Museum, Jane Addams Hull House, Planned Parenthood of Illinois, Chicago Public Media, the Mies Society at the Illinois Institute of Technology, the Juvenile Justice Initiative, the Chicago Community Trust, and the LGBT Fund at the Chicago Community Trust. And whereas at a more local level, Prue has been equally as active in the community, serving on the board of Market Square 2000 and Forest Park renovation projects, on the board of Lake Forest Country Day School, Lake Forest College, the YWCA of Lake Forest and Lake Bluff, the Lake Forest Garden Club, as an elder and lay liturgist at the First Presbyterian Church, and as a Cub Scout leader. And whereas, since there is no stopping her desire and success at giving back during her term of office, Prue served on the Market Square 2000 project, the Forest Park renovation project, on the City Cemetery Commission Golf Advisory Committee as Dickinson Hall liaison, on the Deer Path Streetscape Beautification Committee as chair of the Civic Beautification Committee and chair of the Welcome Home Marketing Team, and as a member of the city's Personnel Compensation Administration Committee. And whereas Prue's unbridled enthusiasm for any one initiative or project did not overshadow her passion for another at any given time. And whereas her philanthropic efforts, whether conducted by phone or by hosting a gathering of hundreds at her home to establish connections in the community and beyond, led to many outstanding and successful public-private partnerships in the city of Lake Forest. And whereas she has devoted much valuable time and personal attention to the work of these committees and the duties of the city council, and on behalf of the residents of the First Ward and the citizens of Lake Forest, continually met her responsibilities with purpose and dedication. And whereas the citizens of Lake Forest recognize and are deeply appreciative of the valuable time and service contributed to the preservation and improvement of the quality of life in our community, now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Lake Forest, Illinois, hereby expresses the profound gratitude of the citizens of Lake Forest to Prue Beidler for the loyal and faithful public service she has given by means of this resolution, which shall be spread upon the permanent records of the City Council. This is adopted by the City Council of the City of Lake Forest this 4th day of May, 2020. And now a resolution of appreciation for Alderman Michelle Marino. Whereas Michelle Moreno has lived in Lake Forest since 1997 and served on various boards, including as treasurer of the Lake Forest Caucus, vice president of the Alumni Board of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and president of the Chicago Finance Exchange. And whereas Michelle served as a member of the city's audit committee from 2010 to 2014, chairing the committee from 2012 to 2014, providing her financial insight to oversee the city's independent annual financial audit and communicate annually with foundations closely affiliated with the city. And whereas Michelle served as a member of the City Council Public Works Committee, and whereas Michelle also participated on the Shared Fire Service Vision 2020 Task Force, exploring alternatives to ensure the fiscal sustainability of fire service in the city. And whereas Michelle served as liaison to youth services, and whereas Michelle was often relied upon by fellow council members and city staff to provide her trusted and professional business and financial acumen, often offering new and creative alternatives for consideration. And whereas she has devoted much valuable time and personal attention to the work of these committees and the duties of the city council, and on behalf of the residents of the Fourth Ward and the citizens of Lake Forest, continually met her responsibilities with purpose and dedication. And whereas the citizens of Lake Forest recognize and are deeply appreciative of the valuable time and service contributed to the preservation and improvement of the quality of life in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Lake Forest, Illinois hereby expresses the profound gratitude of the citizens of Lake Forest to Michelle Moreno for the loyal and faithful public service she has given by means of this resolution, which shall be spread upon the permanent records of the City Council. Adopted by the City Council of the City of Lake Forest this 4th day of May, 2020. Thank you both once again. We'll probably get to read these resolutions again when you get your fabulous gifts and prizes. But the baton has been passed.
Mr. Mayor, do we need to have a resolution approving?
That's what I was just going to say.
Right.
And you can do both at once. You can do both.
I'd like to move for approval of the resolution of appreciation for Ward 1 Alderman Prudence Speidler, and also at the same time approval of the resolution of appreciation for Ward 4 Alderman Michelle Moreno.
I second that motion.
Okay, roll call.
Alderman Morris.
Aye.
Alderman Karas.
You have to unmute.
Aye.
Alderman Rommel.
Oh, aye.
Alderman Notes.
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack.
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian.
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yeas, 0 nay, motion carries.
Thank you, Biddy. Those conclude my comments. Next is comments by the city manager.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mayor. I have to admit I'm a little hesitant to follow all of the amazing words that were already shared in the first session. But since I do have the opportunity, I would be remiss if I didn't offer just a few comments for the outgoing alderman as well. And first just say, on behalf of the staff, we really want to thank you both for your incredible leadership and support for staff over the years. Really, as a lot of people have already commented on, you both really brought an infectious enthusiasm and energy for the job. In my short time of having the privilege of working with you, it was truly apparent in every conversation I have with both of you. And it was equally apparent that you were both guided by doing what you always felt was in the best long-term interest of Lake Forest, which is all we ask for in elected leadership. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate the manner in which sometimes you would challenge staff, ask thought-provoking questions. I can say confidently that both of you made all of us as staff better employees for the manner in which you help lead this city. And so thank you very much on behalf of everyone, again, working here for the city of Lake Forest. And of course, I would certainly also note on a very personal level, I want to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude for your support in affording me the opportunity to be here working for the city of Lake Forest. Your guidance to me over the past year has been invaluable in many private conversations, and it will certainly carry forward for me in the years ahead. And I can only say that I hope to have a long tenure here in Lake Forest. And in that vein, I recognize that I will hopefully have the opportunity to serve under many aldermen, but for as long as I'm here serving the community, certainly it will not be lost on me, the alderman who first gave me the opportunity to be here and took a chance on me. And so truly thank you, not just for me, but for my family as well, for all the support they've shown me on a personal level. And with that, I also want to just take a brief opportunity to welcome Alderman Karas and Weber to the council. I can only say again on behalf of city staff that we look forward to your leadership and the unique perspectives that you will bring, and we're excited to begin working with you. So congratulations and welcome aboard. And that concludes my comments for the evening, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. The next item on the agenda is opportunity for citizens to address the City Council, Session 2. Any member of the public that would like to address the City Council could call 847-810-3643. And Amber will wait a little while and see if there are any calls.
There are no calls at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is items for omnibus vote consideration. There are 5, and they are all items that are approval of purchases made through purchasing consortiums that the city is a member of. So these have all been through an extensive process of bidding through, multiple communities teaming up to hopefully get better terms. The first is approving the extension of the mayor's declaration of a. Oh, this is a little different. The first one is approval of the extension of the mayor's declaration of a local state of emergency until the next city council meeting. The second is approval of the regularly scheduled meetings of the Lake Forest City Council for the year 2021. Third is award of the Lake Forest portion of the Municipal Partnership Initiative 2020 Concrete Curb and Sidewalk Replacement Project with Schroeder and Schroeder for a not to exceed amount of $90,000. Fourth is an award of the Lake Forest portion of the Municipal Partnership Initiative Crack Sealing Project with Patriot Pavement Maintenance, Inc. for a not to exceed amount of $40,000. And fifth is award the Lake Forest portion of the Municipal Partnership Initiative 2020 Joint Sewer Lining Project with Hair Construction for a not to exceed amount of $260,000. Is there any council member that would like to take any of these items off the list or have them considered separately? Okay, there being none, I would entertain a motion to approve the 5 omnibus items by a roll call vote.
Seconded.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Karas,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes, Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
the last item on our agenda tonight is additional items for discussion, comments by council members. I would like to kick this off by issuing a very warm-hearted welcome to our two new aldermen. You're going to bring a whole new generation and a whole new view to the council, and we are all very much looking forward to your input, your energy, and your future contributions to the city. Both of you have made significant contributions already in many ways and places, and hopefully this role will give you an opportunity to expand on that and really show how much of a difference you can make. So welcome very much to Jennifer and Eileen, and we are really looking forward to working with you and having you as new and contributing members of our team.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that, Mr. Mayor. And also, I think I probably speak on behalf of all the other aldermen. Please reach out if you have any questions or you just want to talk about anything. There's obviously the Open Meetings Act to consider, but you are selected because you're the best in the community to serve, and just very excited to have you both on it. And if there's anything we can do to help on the transition, either procedurally or just some of the nomenclature or the budgets, or just share any point of view, I'm sure everybody here on the council will be willing and open to take phone calls and emails to help out, because we were all brand new, and at any rate, we just really appreciate your service. So thank you so much for coming on board. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the council?
Mr. Chair, I would just second what Jim said, Alderman Preschlack. Welcome aboard, and we look forward to your participation in all of our deliberations. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Just welcome to both of you. Eileen, you know that we have family history that goes way, way back. So I look forward to working with both of you, and a warm, hearty welcome to the council.
Thank you.
And also a very hearty welcome from the Eileen's compatriot here in the 4th Ward. And I certainly look forward to working with Eileen and Jennifer. Welcome to the council. I look forward very much to working with you. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we actually have a caller on the line.
Oh, okay.
1 second, please, and I'll connect. Okay, we have a caller on the line. They will introduce themselves and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ward Ross. I'm a resident of Lake Forest, and I understand that our city attorney has advised our mayor that tennis shall not be opened or should not be opened in Lake Forest as a result of the governor's executive order. But yet the cities of Springfield and Naperville have opened up for tennis, and I'm trying to understand why we can't. It's well documented. Research the internet.
We are simply following the directives as advised. So, and they're very clear about private tennis clubs.
Could you send us a hyperlink to where that is written? Because I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. And I find it difficult to believe that the Capitol located in Springfield, and Springfield is disregarding the governor's orders. I just find that surprising, and Naperville, one of the largest cities in the state, has also disregarded it. Is there any way we could look into that a little deeper?
Sure. Sir, I'll say if you want to contact me via email, I'd be happy to provide you some additional information. My email address is available on the city's website.
I'm sorry, who is that speaking?
This is City Manager Jason Wisha.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will then now go back to any comments that our new alderman would like to make, maybe starting with the first ward. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our family has lived in and loved the city of Lake Forest for almost 20 years, and it is a great privilege to be joining the city council on behalf of the residents of Ward 1. After listening to the heartfelt comments in the first session, I'm humbled to be joining such a distinguished group. I'd like to take a moment to thank Alderman Beidler and Alderman Moreno for their time and service on the council and for helping me personally in making the decision to run for alderman. Prue, you are leaving me with some very big shoes to fill. I'm eager to continue the marketing work Alderman Beidler started and led alongside city staff to highlight the abundance of history, features, and assets that distinguish Lake Forest and make it the most desirable place to live on Chicago's North Shore. I'd like also to thank Alderman Morris for his support and guidance through the election process. And thank you to City Manager Wisha and his incredible team of department leaders at the city who graciously provided incoming Alderman Weber and me with an orientation of their departments and their work. I look forward to working with all of my city council colleagues and serving our special hometown of Lake Forest. Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to echo Jennifer's comments. First off, I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to join the council and follow in my father's footsteps. He's been a real mentor to me all these years, listening and how he served our community. And what better way for me to continue serving our community is to do that as well. So I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to do this, and thank you to the residents for all of your support. I've had wonderful conversations with many of you councilmen and women. And again, as Jennifer said, some big shoes to fill, but I am up for the job. And I'm so thankful for my family's support, my husband and my 2 boys. I had my 5-year-old sitting here patiently waiting so I could join the screen of the Zoom meeting. He was so excited to see that. So again, thank you.
Well, welcome to Alderman Weber and Alderman Karras. And we look forward to dealing with a lot of interesting and challenging issues together.
Yes.
Any other comments by council members?
George, just lastly, keeping it brief, thank you for your leadership during these trying times. I know it wasn't what you had in mind when you signed up for it. I appreciate all that you've done. I want to welcome our new members to council, recognizing that these are very challenging times. And most importantly, I want to thank city staff for the job that they're doing. These are very difficult times for all of us, and I think especially for them, because they're dealing with it from both sides, from residents who've grown accustomed to the superior services that we have here, but also following directives from council and the mayor and the governor. Appreciate their patience in these difficult times. I do want to thank city staff and mayor, especially you, for your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Any last comments? Okay, there being none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. And a second.
So moved. Second.
Okay, and I guess we have to have a roll call vote because we're remote.
Alderman Morris.
Aye.
Alderman Karras.
Aye.
Alderman Rummel.
Aye.
Alderman Notes. Alderman Preschlack.
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian.
Aye.
Alderman Bushman.
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yay, 0 nay, motion carries.
Okay. Well, this is normally when we would adjourn to a local watering hole for some celebration, but we'll have to put that off. We'll have to put that off for another day. And Again, welcome. Thanks to our departing alderman. Welcome to our new alderman. Cheers to everybody, and we'll continue to carry our way through this to the best of our ability. The meeting is adjourned.